Okay, here we go. Everybody get in here. Forget XQC. He ain't Stormer. Got white spots on my skin. Let me take a look. Okay, here we are again. Another episode of Phoenix Wright. Ace Attorney. I can go with or without my camera. Yeah, some people use green screens. I don't have one, of course. Pure commentary. If I see any requests for pure commentary either through YouTube or Twitch, I can go from there. Yeah, I'm still not really sure how some streamers and entertainers come to the realization that they should be voice only. Like Lyric and Zach Scott both come to mind. And I think part of the reason for that could be the desire for anonymity. In Lyric's case, I think. Because maybe he just doesn't want people to recognize him on the street. Which I get. I could definitely get that. There's definitely a burden to fame. Like, XQC and Miz probably can't escape it. Like, everywhere they go, they have to worry about being recognized. And people wanting to take their picture and stuff like that. With this channel being the size that it is, I will probably never have to worry about that. But, yeah, I don't know, it's, I could try it either way, either with the camera or without. In Zach Scott's case, I think he's in the intro for every video that he makes, so I don't think, I think in his case it's more so because of his voice. He wants to showcase his voice more than his appearance. Okay, let me check it out. The spots that I have, I think on my forums. I can't see them right now. I can't see them at all. Depigmentation. Yeah, I have no idea. Yeah, I can't see them at all right now, actually. Like, usually the spots I have appear on my forums. Oh, there it is. It's just harder to tell in this lighting. Like, I think it's easier for me to tell in the light of day. is. You guys definitely won't be able to see it. Let me see if I can. Take a picture. Like it's like you can hardly even notice it. The white spots I have, and they're, yeah, I don't know. The spots that I have are isolated, like they're not surrounded by other white spots. Yeah, I really don't know. It's probably nothing to worry about. And if nothing else, I can always see a dermatologist if it gets to be bad enough. Okay, anyway, here I go again. Thank you for all the follows. Like, we need mass chat and we need mass follows up in here. Episode 4, Turnabout Goodbyes. Final day trial. Okay, let's load it in. December 28th, 9:51 a.m. District Court, Defendant Lobby number 2. This is it, Judgment Day. Today things are going to get settled at last. A lot of things. Wah! What's the big idea? Sorry, Nick. I only touched your shoulder. And he gets shocked. Okay. I guess the shock hasn't worn off from my run-in with the stun gun yesterday. Yeah, why did they shock her? They didn't really need to. Yeah, I still think the last trial was kind of ridiculous. Like, what's his face? Karma kept objecting. It's like defense has to be able to provide some accounts, right? Because otherwise, what's the purpose of defense? And of course, we had the revelation last episode that Karma was actually himself involved in crime. He, at the end of the last episode, took away our one crucial piece of evidence, that letter tying him to the crime, which I'm like, okay. Like, if we only had that letter earlier, it would have put us on easy street. Anyhow, today's the last day of the trial. Good luck, Nick. Yeah, thanks, Maya. Edgeworth is looking glum as always. Hope Von Karma doesn't push him too hard. Whoa. What are you doing? Sorry. I'm sorry. I just thought I'd cheer you up with a pat on the back. Maya, maybe you should go outside and discharge. Right. Good idea. And that's actually also my name, too. Perhaps the first time that she actually called me by the right name. Trying to electrocute anyone on your way out. Yeah, pal. Gumshoe? Yeah, actually. What's gone into that girl? Detective Gumshoe. Morning. Mr. Edgeworth. Good morning. How did it go, Detective? Have no fears. Promised. I've captured our runaway caretaker. Nice. He might have been the actual murderer. I just brought him in. Took all night, pal. Thanks, Detective Gumshoe. You must be tired. Actually, after that shock I got on the way in, I feel pretty good. Yogi says he's forgotten his own name. But that has to be a lie. Why would he want revenge on Edgeworth if he couldn't remember his past? Exactly. And I had the theory in the last episode where it's like, why would they want to take revenge against Edgeworth? Because we're to believe that he may have accidentally shot his dad in the Dl6 incident. And the game tries to explain it by saying, like, oh, well, he had put a negative impression on Yugi, Yanni, whatever his name is, and Karma. But the way they were explaining Karma more is it's more so because of his dad questioning his methods. But I don't think that had anything to do with the Dl6 incident. It's somewhat confusing. He does remember, and I'm going to prove it. December 28th, 10 o'clock a.m., District Court, Courtroom number 3. So our number one task in this episode is to pin Karma and Yanni, or whatever his name is, Yami Yugi. Court is now in session for the trial of Miles Edgeworth. The defense is ready, Your Honor. The prosecution is ready. Right. Very well. We have reached the final day of our proceedings in this trial. I ask that the prosecution submit decisive evidence. Understood. Come on, don't be awed into silence by every little thing he says. Very well, Mr. Von Karma, your opening statement. The judge has been strangely, like, submissive to Karma. I just let him basically do whatever he wants in the courtroom. I'm like, okay. Right. Thanks to Detective Gumshoe's efforts, the boat rental shop caretaker has been arrested. In yesterday's trial, the defense asserted that the caretaker was the murderer. However, the caretaker has yet to confirm this. I would like to ask the defense to cross-examine him as much as necessary. That's a big change from the last episode. Because in the last episode, he was basically doing anything and everything in his power to prevent us from providing any insight whatsoever. Very well. Please bring the witness into the court. There he is, falling asleep again. Ladies and gentlemen of the court, I believe you'll remember our witness. He lives in the boat rental shop on the lake, from where he witnessed the incident. In addition, he has currently lost memory of his name and identity. Witness, why did you run away yesterday? Yeah, why did you run away? If you had nothing to do with the crime. The witness was not running away, as he will now testify. I see. Very well, please begin your testimony. Why were you trying to avoid capture? Alright, why I left court witness testimony? Well, you see, I forgot where I was. I'm really sorry about just leaving yesterday like I did. But I wasn't running away or nothing. I went to buy some food for Polly, see? Expect him to give a lot of, like, misleading facts. Like, last time he was telling us he was in a, what was it, like a restaurant or something? Ice cream shop? Okay, dude. I figured I got nothing to do with this incident anyhow. I mean, I need one of those motive things, right? And I don't got one. We're posing the theory that he shot Robert, dressed up as him, rode out on the boat with Edgeworth, shot 2 shots in the water, and jumped in the water. Meanwhile, Edgeworth had no idea it was him. Like, Edgeworth hasn't given us anything for some bizarro reason. Like, wouldn't Edgeworth have seen it all? Even if we didn't have that letter, we'd still have Edgeworth's testimony to go off of, but for some reason we haven't gotten it. I mean, I need one of those motive things, right? I don't got one. So my testimony yesterday stands as is. Alright, we gotta hammer him. Very well. Let's begin the cross-examination, shall we? He has to know his name. Yanni Yogi. You're Yanni Yogi, and I'm going to prove it. Cross-examination, why I left court. I'm really sorry about just leaving yesterday like I did. Hold it. I'd call what you did running away, and not just leaving. You heard Larry's testimony and realized you were in danger. Of course. Now, Mr. Wright, there's no need to rush to conclusions. As I said, the witness was not running away. Listen to the testimony. He sure seems relaxed. In fact, they both do, Von Karma and Yanayogi. Well, Phoenix, as you might recall, that's probably because he confiscated the single most crucial piece of evidence, that letter at the end of the last episode. So without that to put him away, of course they seem relaxed. And it's still missing from my evidence. Yeah, it's still missing. Conveniently. Can I look at the, witnesses, or whatever it's called? How do I do that? I guess it's not that important right now. It's mainly important is the evidence I have. Then why did you leave? Objection. He's just about to say why. Is it so hard for you to just quietly listen when someone is talking? If I sat quietly, Edgeworth would be guilty in 3 minutes. Exactly. Karma, like it or not, I'm doing my job. I went to buy some food for Polly, see? Food? Well, Polly is a bit of a gourmand, you see. She only eats these high-quality bird pellets from France. They only have them in big pet shop downtown. But you weren't arrested until this morning. Why didn't you go back to the caretaker's shack? Oh, well, I kinda got lost, you see. Of course, expecting to weave a fancy story. The witness has trouble remembering things sometimes. When the police apprehended him, he was on his way back to the shack. Why would he not know where he lives? Like, he was just wandering around in the woods. I have to use the bathroom. I'll be right back. They found him wandering around in the woods. He might be old, but that doesn't mean he can get away with everything. Okay, I'm back. He was on his way back to the shack. Yeah, right. Nice try, Von Karma. No one's going to believe that. I see. So he was lost. Please, Your Honor, come to your senses. I figured I got nothing to do with this incident anyhow. Hold it. You've lost much of your memory, is that correct? Yup. Seems like it. Then how could you know that you didn't have anything to do with this incident? Wouldn't you've also forgotten that? Or maybe you're lying about not having your memory, Expect the objection. You know exactly who you are. There it is. The witness has testified quite clearly that he has no memory of who he is. If you claim he's lying, then show the court proof. Grr. How am I supposed to prove what's going on in that old codger's head? That's impossible. What did Mia say in the first episode? working off the belief that it's the case. I can't remember her exact words. It seems so long ago. She died in only the second episode. I'm glad you come to your senses, Mr. Wright. Very well, witness. Please continue. I mean, I need one of those motive things, right? And I don't got one. How can you say you had no motive? I say you do. You had a grudge against Edgeworth and the victim, Robert Hammond. That's why you took revenge on him, right? Objection. Please don't make me repeat myself, Mr. Wright. This witness has no memory of anything beyond several years ago. He can't hold a grudge. It's impossible. I have to prove he's lying about his memory. Otherwise, it's going to be the same thing over and over until the trial ends. Might I say something, Mr. Wright? Yes, Your Honor. You've been saying the same thing now over and over. You've been calling the witness's memory of the past, or lack thereof, into question. Yes, because, Judge, you see, memory is... He's just playing it to his advantage. Like, how is it possible he can't remember his name, but he can remember that he had nothing to do with the crime? Do you see what's fishy about that? Like, anyone should see what's fishy about that. He can't remember who he is, but he can remember he had nothing to do with what happened. Strange, at least. And that's the defense attorney's job to call that into question. Does this really have anything to do with the current case? Of course, Your Honor. The witness has said he has nothing to do with this case and no motive. Both of these statements are lies. Order. Mr. Wright, there's a serious problem with your claim. Or are you saying you know who this witness is? Of course, Your Honor. Oh, now this is interesting. I'd like to know myself. So who is he? Yeah, assume the clock was 3 hours ahead and go from there. Don't play dumb, Karma. Mr. Wright, please tell us the witness's name. His name is Yanni Yogi, a former court bailiff. Yogi? That name seems familiar. Oh, Yanni Yogi, from the Dl6 incident. It figures the judge would have heard of it. It was such a famous case. But what does this mean? Your Honor, this man is Mr. Yogi. He has a clear motive. Tisk. Jumping to conclusions again, Mr. Wright. This witness, is Yanni Yogi? Fascinating. However, how do you propose to prove this to the court? This is a court of law, as you may recall. You need proof. And allow me to repeat once more that the witness has lost his memory. This is it. I have to do this now. If I can't prove he's Yogi right here, right now, then I've got nowhere else to go. Nick, how are you going to prove it? How can you prove he's Yanni Yogi? It's okay, it's actually quite simple. Your Honor, please take this man's fingerprints. Then we'll compare them to the fingerprints on file for Yanni Yogi 15 years ago. I see, that makes sense. I think I've heard it once or twice of times where like someone sanded off their fingerprints. Is that even possible? I don't know. I guess it would be, right? I don't know. Tisk. What, did he sand off his fingerprints, Karma? Huh? I'm so very, very sorry, Mr. Wright. Or did he remove that evidence from the police file? Why? The witness has no fingerprints. I had a funny feeling he was going to say that. What? What? No fingerprints? You see, before I worked as a caretaker, I worked at a chemical plant. Uh-huh. I burned my fingers working with the stuff. Yep. What? Yogi, you sneak. You burn your fingertips off to hide your past. Well, if the witness has no fingerprints, I guess we will not be able to prove his identity. No. Tisk, tisk, tisk. Well, what will you do, Mr. Wright? Seems that the case has been decided. No. No. I know what happened. I know everything. I just can't prove it. Oh, no, I can't let it end like this. I can't lose. There has to be another way. There is no one who can testify as to who this witness is. No one. Then why would you call him then? Nick, what are we going to do? I didn't even consider that he might have erased his fingerprints. What do I do? Tisk, tisk, tisk. Well, Mr. Wright, perhaps you'd like to cross-examine his parrot for a little comic relief. No, but I would like to present Edgeworth's testimony. That could be helpful. You know, I saw him on the boat, something along those lines. Yeah, very funny. You're a sore winner, Von Karma. Wait a second. Cross-examine his parrot. What is it, Nick? No, you're not going to... Your Honor. The defense would like to take Mr. Von Karma up on his proposal. Take Von Karma up? On my proposal? Exactly, Your Honor. I'd like to cross-examine the witness's pet parrot. Order. Order. Well, what do you think, Mr. Von Karma? Need you even ask? This is a farce. I object. Objection! Wait a second. You were the one who suggested I cross-examine the parrot, Von Karma. I have a right to do as you suggested. Well, if you're so desperate, then please be my guest. Of course, should you go through with this, and nothing comes of it, then I hope you're ready for the consequences. Nick, this is crazy. Well, still want to go through with your little game? Let the parrot take the stand. I'll cross-examine her, Your Honor. This is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. Von Karma's rigged every person's testimony, every piece of evidence. Except the parrot. She's my last chance. At least I think so. Bailiff, bring in the parrot. Okay. That's quite a bird. Please tell us your name. Name. The witness is ignoring me. It must hurt to be ignored by a bird. Very well, witness. Who is your owner? Please testify for us. Witness testimony. Who is your owner? Hello, hello. Certainly the most concise testimony we've heard so far. Very well, begin your cross-examination. Right. What are you going to do, Nick? I don't know. What do we do, Maya? Don't suppose we could contact Mia about this. Hello, hello. Guess we should try to get some information out of her. We need to show the judge that her owner is Mr. Yogi. I think I've got to present the parrot. Witness, you can't just say hello and expect us to get anywhere. I want you to testify. Maya, you talk to her. Right. What do I say? As I recall, 2 days ago. Polly, have we forgotten something? Rah! Don't forget Dl6. Rah! If I can get Polly to say that here, that will prove that the caretaker had something to do with Dl6. Polly, have we forgotten something? Hello, hello. Rah! That's not what you're supposed to say. Forgot. Something we forgot. Hello, hello. Uh-oh, it's not working, Nick. She won't say it. This is ridiculous. Why won't she say it? Tisk, tisk, tisk. Something the matter, Mr. Wright? Wait. Don't tell me Von Karma expected this. He couldn't have retrained the parrot, could he? Did he train her not to respond when we asked if we'd forgotten anything? I guess it's possible. Witness, you're here to speak, so you must speak to me. Frankly, I can't believe that you're speaking to the parrot. Well, I guess we should try to get some information out of her. I think I have to present the parrot. Let me try that. Your Honor, that statement... are you serious? To do it again because it's not giving us near enough to work off of. What's your name? Maybe I should get her to say her name. Polly, what's your name? Polly. Mr. Wright, I think we've established that this parrot is named Polly. Does this have anything to do with her owner's identity? Yes, it does. Ah, fascinating. You claim that the parrot's name will prove her owner's identity. And show us this proof. Nick, don't you think you're taking this bluffing thing a little too far? Listen, we're not here to answer the question of who is the caretaker. We're here to prove that he is Yanni Yogi. All we have to do is tie the name Polly to Yogi. Your Honor, the proof that the parrot's name reveals the caretaker's identity is... Is it the case file? It is suspect data, I believe. How do I get to that though? All we have about the suspect is the late photo, right? That's all we have. Dl6. The Dl6 case file? Objection. That's quite a large file you have there. Which page is this proof on? Show us or stop wasting our time. Very well. Mr. Wright, please show us the page. Where in this file is the information connected to this parrot's name? Suspect data. It's on the suspect data page. This page has all the information about Yanni Yogi. Right after he was arrested, his fiancée committed suicide, see? Indeed, it does say that, yes. What was his fiancée's name? Polly Jenkins. Polly. Exactly, Your Honor. He wanted to remember the name of his fiancée who had committed suicide. That's why he named his parrot after her. I see. I guess that is possible. Objection, Bob. Mere coincidence, that's all. My granddaughter has a dog she calls Phoenix. Well, Mr. Phoenix Wright, does this make you my granddaughter's fiancé? She's only 7 years old. Indeed. Alone, it is a little weak for evidence in a murder trial. We would need some other corroborating evidence. Where am I going to find that? Nick, we're getting closer. One more, if we can just get one more piece of evidence. Right, but what? Very well, witness. You may continue. Safe number this time. I have to literally go through everything. Maybe I'll get her to say the number of that safe. The safe, why? Let's just try to get her to say anything, okay? Polly, what was the number to the safe in the shack? 1228. 1228. My, what a reckless pair. Well, Mr. Wright, you aren't claiming that this number has something to do with the caretaker. Actually, it does. That's why I had her say it. Ha, ridiculous. How can the number to a safe tell us who the caretaker is? Show us your proof. What could possibly link this number to the caretaker's true identity? One, 2, 2, 8. There are 2 bullets, right? There are 2 bullets, but that's not what we're looking for. Neither is that. One, 2, 2, 8. Drawing blanks. 1228 is the number. And Lake is not giving us any new information. Summary of the case. Dl6. The Dl6 Case File? What is this obsession you have with that case? Mr. Wright. I think what's most confusing is that they didn't actually let us see what's in that file. So I'm kind of like going off of guesses and ambiguity. Where in this file is something relating to that safe number? Like, they didn't let us look in this at all. It's on the case summary page. The case summary? Specifically the date on which the Dl6 incident occurred. The date of the incident, December 28th. Why, that's today's date, 15 years ago. And the number on that safe is 1228. Ah, he used the date of the Dl6 incident as the number for his safe, Your Honor. That's how important that date was to him. I see, it certainly is an interesting coincidence. People often do set their secret numbers to dates. Objection. Bob, this is not tangible proof. I set my ATM card's number to 001 because I'm number 1. This has nothing to do with the date. Nothing. That's enough. I think we've reached a conclusion here. This is a mere coincidence. That's all. True, that is a possibility. However, 2 coincidences at the same time seems more like a pattern to me. What are you saying? Summon the caretaker of the boat shop. Immediately. Witness. Tell us your name. Objection. Wait. This witness, he doesn't remember. No, it's okay. What? I've accomplished what I wanted to do. I'm done. Nick, he looks totally different. Yeah, he does. Like, what is going on here? This is the real Yogi, I think, finally. He's been acting feeble to hide his true identity. Acting for 15 years. Even still, he doesn't look like Robert. So, like, even still, he doesn't look like Robert. Well, let me ask you again. Please state your name for the court. My name is Yanni Yogi. 15 years ago, I served as a bailiff in this very court. Okay, now all of a sudden he can remember everything now. Very interesting how that works. Yanni Yogi. So was it you who killed Robert Hammond? And tried to frame Miles Edgeworth for his death? Yes, it was me, I did it. They put me on the witness stand 15 years ago. Robert Hammond, he said I was mentally unsound. He told me it would make me innocent, get me off the hook. So I pretended to have brain damage. I was innocent really, but he didn't believe me. We won the trial, but I lost everything. I lost my job, my fiancé, my social standing. Then this year 15 years later, a package arrived. It was a letter and a pistol. The plan was written out in careful detail. It was a plan for me to take my revenge on the people who ruined my life. I didn't care who had sent it. I thought this was my chance. After 15 years, this was it. Finally, a chance to have my revenge on Robert Hammond. I have no regrets. Wait a moment. Revenge against Miles Edgeworth? What do you mean? I'm not at liberty to speak on that matter. Why don't you ask Mr. Edgeworth yourself? A question that I've basically been asking all along. Like, where is Edgeworth in all of this? Anyway, I admit it. I think you said that he shot Robert. On Karma, where's Mr. Yogi? Under arrest, Your Honor. I saw no room for error in his confession. Then the defendant, Miles Edgeworth, is innocent, in this case at least. Very well. Will the defendant please take the stand? There are a few mysteries left unsolved. Still, you are cleared of your suspicion of this particular case. So I would like to pass judgment on the murder of Mr. Robert Hammond. Any objections? I don't believe it. Why isn't Von Karma saying anything? Very well. This court finds the defendant, Mr. Miles Edgeworth, not guilty. Nice. Woohoo! That is all. This court is adjourned. Edgeworth. Did someone just say objection? It wasn't Von Karma. Wait, but that means no. Edgeworth objected for some reason. Your Honor, I object to your judgment. What do you mean? Is he going to confess to killing his dad? I'm not innocent at all. As we have heard, Yanni Yogi killed Robert Hammond in revenge. But revenge for what? Nick, Edgeworth is trying to confess. He's going to say he's guilty. He's going to tell them he was the murderer in the Dl6 incident. He's going to tell them he killed his own dad. What do I do? Raise an objection or leave it to Edgeworth? Let me raise an objection, I guess. Objection! The judgment has already been passed. I object to Edgeworth's outburst. Objection. Didn't something like this happen yesterday, too? I believe a certain witness raised an objection after a guilty verdict was passed. That would be Larry. We must hear this new statement. We must hear Miles Edgeworth. He shot his dad, but it was accidentally. He's right. And for some reason, Edgeworth wasn't able to remember or provide useful testimony in the Dl6 incident either. That the prosecution just wasn't aware of what happened. We have a duty to hear Mr. Edgeworth out. For 15 years, I've had a recurring dream. A nightmare. It's only a nightmare. That's what I told myself. But now I know it wasn't a dream. Yogi wasn't the killer. You mean in the incident where your father died? From the distance of the shot, it wasn't suicide either. Everything was as clear as day. The murderer, the criminal in the Dl6 incident. It was me. Your Honor, I confess my guilt. I am guilty for Dl6, the statute of limitations of which ends today. The culprit is me. Order, order. This is certainly unexpected. The defendant declared innocent is confessing to a different crime. A crime for which the statute of limitation runs out today. I'm not really sure how I should deal with this. It's obvious. You hold a trial right here, right now. We tried this man for his crime of 15 years ago. It was an accident, and for whatever reason, Edgeworth has no recollection of it at all. I think I would like to take a 5-minute recess. During this time, I will consider the appropriate course of action to take. Court is adjourned. I thought it was all a dream. And they weren't able to bring this out during the actual Dl6 incident court case. December 20th, 2:24 p.m. District Court Defendant Lobby Number 2. I'm sorry, Wright. I just wasted all of your effort. Mr. Edgeworth, I just don't believe it, sir. I mean, you kill your dad? I didn't want to believe it myself, Detective. But it's the truth. I deserve to be punished. Murder is murder, no matter what the circumstances. This is crazy. Just crazy. Nick, what are you doing? Huh? Oh. I was just reading through the court record once more. I'm getting my case ready. Your case for what? Huh? Isn't it obvious? I'm going to prove that Miles Edgeworth is innocent. What are you talking about, pal? He just admitted to it. He confessed that he did it. In court. I'm sorry, Edgeworth. But I don't believe your nightmare. What? It's just a dream. It's not real. The truth is right here in this court record. In any case, tighten your belts. The real fight is just beginning. I'll prove you're innocent. Trust me. Right. December 28th, 2:30 p.m. District Court, Courtroom Number 3. Was it all just a dream? Salt and pepper and heavy D up in the limousine. Biggie Smalls reference. Now then, I'd like to resume our trial. Judge. Miles Edgeworth has admitted his own guilt. He has confessed his crime. Let us begin by hearing his testimony. Then, though pointless, let the defense do their cross-examining. The statute of limitations on the Dl6 incident runs out today. Though it's unconventional for me, I'd like to run this one by the book. I see. Does the defense have any objections? No, Your Honor. Von Karma, you knew this was going to happen from the very beginning, didn't you? Very well. Will Miles Edgeworth take the stand? Will the witness state his name and profession? Miles Edgeworth. I'm a prosecuting attorney. Mr. Edgeworth. 15 years ago, you mistakenly killed your father, Gregory Edgeworth. Is this correct? It is correct. Then testify about this matter to the court. When Edgeworth was telling me about his dream yesterday, I noticed something. One detail didn't quite fit. That will be the key, but only if I can get it to work. Please. Please. The Dl6 incident. Edgeworth's witness testimony. That day, I had gone to the courtroom to observe one of my father's trials. As we went to leave, an earthquake struck, trapping us in the elevator. My father and Mr. Yogi lost their composure and began to argue. Just then, something heavy fell at my feet. I picked it up and threw it at Mr. Yogi. I wanted them to stop fighting. Why would you do that? Like, a moment later, there was a single gunshot, then a scream. It was a terrible scream. I remember it to this day. That's all. What were they fighting about? More importantly, his dad was a defense attorney. And this was prior to the Dl6. And this was the Dl6 incident. Why would the defense attorney be fighting with the bailiff? I have no idea. Until now, you thought this memory was a dream. We were stuck in that elevator for 5 hours. The oxygen in the elevator ran out, and I lost my memory of the events. Bah, the same claim Mr. Yogi has made. Very well. Mr. Wright, your cross-examination, please. Yes, Your Honor. The Dl6 incident. There's a saying, blessed are the forgetful, for they get the better even of their blunders. Alexander Pope, I believe. That day, I'd gone to the courtroom to observe one of my father's trials. Here we go again. What was the trial your father was involved in on that day? I don't remember things very clearly. Only 2 things. I know my father lost, and Mr. Von Karma was the prosecuting attorney. Mr. Von Karma, you were handling that case? It was 15 years ago. I don't remember the details. That was when Edgeworth pointed out the problems in Von Karma's evidence. As we went to leave, an earthquake struck, trapping us in the elevator. So there were 3 people, including yourself, trapped in that elevator. Yes, myself, my father, and Yana Yogi. We were fine at first, but then as time passed, no one came to help. My father and Mr. Yogi lost their composure and began to argue. What did you do then? I was a 9-year-old boy at the time. What could I do? I was scared, trembling in the corner. But then, just then, something heavy fell at my feet. What was it? A pistol. I assume it was the bailiff Yana Yogi's. The safety must have come off when it fell from his holster. And you picked it up. What happened next? I picked it up and threw it at Mr. Yogi. I wanted them to stop fighting. Did you know it was a pistol when you threw it? I think I knew. I knew it was dangerous. But the air was getting so thick, I panicked. So you were saying that you threw the pistol at Mr. Yogi. I was in a daze. A moment later, there was a single gunshot and a scream. Hold it, the gun fired once. Yes. I think after I threw it, I lost consciousness. Since then, they've echoed in my head every day. That gunshot and that horrible scream. The scream. It was a terrible scream. I remember it to this day. To this day? Yes, I can practically hear it now. I doubt I will ever forget that scream as long as I live. There it is. One part of that testimony clearly contradicts the evidence. But I don't know what it means. I better find out quick. Maybe it's the bullet. Is it the bullet? Victim data. It's this dang Dl6 incident every single time. It keeps throwing me for a loop because, as I've said, we've never had the chance to actually look at it. Okay, apparently all I had to do was check it. Okay, I didn't know. The victim data is what we're concerned with. Trapped in the elevator returning from a lost trial with son Miles Edgeworth, age 9. One bullet found in heart. The murder weapon was fired twice. Objection! Your Honor, that statement... Wait, that's... The sixth statement. Okay, maybe it's this one I presented on. Because it says there were 2 bullet shots. Yeah, because it says there were 2 bullet shots. Are you sure you only heard 1 gunshot? Yes, I'm sure of that. I heard the shot and the scream. Then everything faded. I was unconscious until the rescuers came. I see. No, Your Honor, unfortunately you don't. Look at this file one more time. This plainly contradicts the witness's testimony. Objection. You do enjoy dragging out that file, don't you? I'd say so, 3rd time this episode. I don't accept this evidence, unless you can tell us what page it's on. Which page contradicts Mr. Edgeworth's testimony? Victim data. Look at the victim data in this file. It says it quite plainly. The murder weapon was fired twice. Alright, now I'm starting to pick it up, because you have to check the file. Miles Edgeworth only heard 1 gunshot. Yet the murder weapon was fired twice. The first shot was the accidental firing when the pistol was thrown. So who fired the remaining shot? Was there perhaps another shooter who fired that second shot? Your Honor, as I'm sure you're aware, this incident occurred 15 years ago. Evidence is dated. The pistol did fire twice. However, we do not know when that second shot was fired. It might have been fired the day before the incident. There is no proof that this second shot had anything to do with this incident. What? I see. You do have a point, Mr. Wright. The murder weapon was fired twice, as we have heard. One of those shots was fired by the defendant, a boy at the time. Do you have any proof that the other shot fired had something to do with the case? Your Honor, I think I'll be able to show you proof. What? Impossible. Now, Mr. Von Karma, save your surprise for after you've seen the evidence. Very well, Mr. Wright, show us your proof. Do you have evidence that the second firing of the pistol is related to this incident? I think it's this photo of the bullet. Yeah. Look at this photograph. This is a photograph of the scene of the crime 15 years ago. I can see that the victim lying there is Gregory Edgeworth. This proves the murder weapon was fired twice at the time of the incident. This photo proves it. So let me get this straight. This photo proves 2 shots were fired? Where? Your Honor, please get a clue. Show the judge the contradiction in the photo. It's right there. As should be obvious, the contradiction is here. I see a bullet hole in the door. Your Honor, Gregory Edgeworth was killed by a shot from the pistol, yet there is also a bullet hole in the elevator door. We also know that the murder weapon was fired twice. Thus, someone other than Edgeworth fired that second shot. It was Yana Yogi, right before they lost consciousness. Order! Mr. Wright, where are you driving at? It's simple, Your Honor. At the time of the incident, 2 shots were fired. One went into Gregory Edgeworth's heart. The other hit the elevator door. Remember that the defendant lost consciousness after the shot he fired rang out. In conclusion, we must agree that the second shot was fired by someone else. Mr. Wright, but who could that someone else be? The murderer, of course. I knew I should have stepped in before your wild fantasies got out of hand. Mr. Wright, look once more at the Dl6 incident case file. Look closely. Try the case summary page. The case summary? That's on page 1. Look what's written there. Not a single clue is found on the scene. The pistol had indeed been fired 2 times. Then the other bullet would have been discovered on the scene. He does have a point. That second bullet has never been found. Why? Because the second bullet does not exist. The bullet that claimed Edgeworth's life was the one fired by his own son. That is the truth of this matter. The whole truth. It was undoubtedly something else that made that bullet hole in the door. Is it possible the bullet just wasn't recovered for one or more reasons? Like, it's possible the bullet just wasn't recovered. Order. I will have order. Mr. Wright has proven one thing to us quite clearly, that the murder weapon was fired twice at the time of the incident. However, as Mr. Von Karma says, the second bullet fired was not found. It is highly unlikely that the police merely overlooked this second bullet. It is possible that they didn't find the bullet. So all we have is the single bullet fired. I'm afraid I have to discount the defense's claim. Tisk, tisk, tisk. I praise the judge for his wisdom in this matter. God, how did this happen? I don't believe that the second bullet didn't exist. Was I wrong? Have I been wrong about this whole incident? What are you doing, Nick? Why aren't you raising an objection? I'm sorry, Maya. What? It looks like I was wrong. Nick, if the second bullet wasn't there, then all my conjectures are for nothing. No. But you said you'd do it, Nick. You said you'd get Edgeworth declared innocent. I'm sorry. It's just, when I saw the photograph, I thought that 2 shots had been fired. I was so certain of it. I thought I'd won. I thought there was another person, someone else who fired the killing shot. But now, I was wrong to think it could be that simple. This case has stood unsolved for 15 years. Nick. Well, it seems that we have finally cleared up this incident. Only 1 bullet was found at the scene of the crime. That shot was fired by Miles Edgeworth. Precisely. I would like to ask one thing of Miles Edgeworth before passing my verdict. Have you been paying attention to the trial so far? The ballistic markings... Yeah, I don't know what good that would do, frankly. Yes, Your Honor. The ballistic markings should tell you what gun the bullet came from. What it won't tell you is who fired that bullet. That's where you would need the murder weapon. Do you have any objections? And there should have been 2 sets of prints on that gun. 1 the bailiff's, and 2 Edgeworth's. No, I do not. So you killed your father, though that was not your intention. Yes, I did. Oh no. He's accepted the guilt. Very well. The statute of limitations on the murder of Gregory Edgeworth runs out today. Therefore, I must pronounce a verdict on the defendant today right here. Right now. Indeed. Does anyone have any objections? I've been here before. It's just like my first day in court. There's so many things I know I should be saying, but my mind's gone blank. I can't find the words. Mr. Wright. Objection! Your Honor. Your Honor, I object. Tisk, tisk, tisk. Mr. Wright, on what grounds do you object, Oof, Nick. I don't know. His case is perfect. Oh no. Gosh. It must exist. The second bullet. Is Mia finally coming into action? What? What did you just say? Nothing. The second bullet must exist. But where? Someone took it. Yeah, Mia's like calling through the void. Calling from the void. Seems waiting is not going to produce us any answers from Mr. Wright. Wait, Your Honor. The second bullet. It existed. What? Well, we've just heard proof that it did not exist. I think it is impossible to prove that something does not exist. Like, logically speaking. Yeah, I think you cannot prove that something does not exist. Let me see if I can figure out why that is, though. There's an iOS update and everything is screwy now. Yeah, you can't prove a negative. It is possible to prove rather specific negative claims that are made with rather well-defined limits. You can also prove specific negative claims when they involve known impossibilities, based on the burden of proof. And they have people saying that you can prove a negative. I think I just need to keep reading about it. I'm reading a Psychology Today article in which they say that there's no such thing as the law of logic. Stephen D. Hales points out in his paper, you can prove a negative. You can't prove a negative as a principle of folk logic, not actual logic. You cannot prove a negative as itself a negative. So if it were true, it would itself be unprovable. So, like, yeah. If... Let's see. It's kind of like that age-old paradox, like... There are two people, one always tells the truth and one always lies. It's like that age-old paradox. One says I always lie, one says I never lie. You'll never be able to tell who the true liar is. Because if the liar says I always lie, then he's not actually lying. He's telling the truth. So it creates like a paradox in a way. Kind of like the same thing. It's like, for proof that it did not exist. I realize that, Your Honor. I'm really grasping here. It's just someone took it from the scene of the crime. That's what happened. Entirely possible. It's entirely possible that the bullet simply wasn't found. But who? The murderer. The murderer? Then tell us, just who is this murderer? I'm still thinking about that one. So the criminal took the second bullet, but why? Huh? First of all, how would they have found it? It's not easy to find a stray bullet, Mr. Wright. Was there some pressing need for the murderer to search for that bullet? The murderer had to find it, or he didn't need it. I'm going to say he had to find it. Of course there was a need. That's why they took it. But what possible reason could they have had? Well, the reason the murderer took the bullet away from the scene with them is the bullet's proof. Maybe they thought that the bullet would be used as proof. Proof? It was a special bullet, so they took it with them. If that was the case, then they should have taken the bullet from inside Gregory as well. They might not have had that time, Karma. Like, you may need surgical tools to extract a bullet. Why they would only take one of the 2 shots fired? Especially if there was like gas, just fumes and stuff like that. People are passing out. Like, they might not have had the ability to remove that. Why would they only take one of the 2 shots fired? Oh, right. Mr. Wright, have you really thought this through? I'm going to have to penalize you. Darn. Taking me off. The murderer didn't need it. Why would the murderer have spent the time to look for that stray bullet? I haven't got a clue. What's wrong, Mr. Wright? The murderer had no reason to take that bullet. You don't want to admit it, but it's true. Ugh. Had to take it. Had to take it, the murderer? What does that mean? See, that's what I thought. And now Mia's coming through. You're thinking too normal. Think crazy. Don't think why the bullet was taken. Think why the bullet had to be taken. That's what I was thinking. Mr. Wright? Yes, Your Honor. I have no idea what I'm doing. Well, the murderer had no intention of taking the bullet from the scene. But the murderer had to take that bullet. Had to, Mr. Wright? What do you mean? Well, for instance... For instance, what? Maybe the bullet hit the murderer. The bullet hit the murderer? Just saying, for instance. I mean, if it hit you, you would have to take it with you, wouldn't you? It's not like you could perform surgery right there. Exactly. You know? Wait a second. I was just talking off the top of my head, but what if that's what really happened? Let me get this straight. So at the time of the murderer themselves was shot. And they left with the second bullet still inside of them. But why was there a bullet mark on the wall then? There would have only been a bullet mark on the wall if the bullet passed all the way through. That's leaving only one bullet at the scene of the crime. Yes, I guess that's how it would work, yes. There wouldn't be an exit path for the bullets if the bullet was still lodged inside the murderer. But there's a problem with that. The other 2 people rescued from that elevator, Miles, Edgeworth, and Yana Yogi, were both unharmed. So that would mean their murderer came from outside, yes. So he shot himself and the bullet passed through the wall. Is that what you're saying? From outside. The 2 men fight inside the elevator. Trying to stop them, the boy picks up the pistol at his feet and throws it. It's a pistol. Why would he throw it? The pistol discharges and the bullet. The bullet goes through the elevator door and hits the murderer outside. The boy loses consciousness. Then the murderer opens the elevator door and sees the men inside. Mr. Wright, you're truly the most unpredictable defense attorney I've ever known. I can tell you're grasping that I cannot deny the possibility of what you say. Objection. What are you saying? Deny it. Deny it. No one involved with the incident was wounded. There was no murder. No one was wounded at the time of the incident. He's right. I can't think of anyone. Hey, Nick. Huh? I just thought of something really crazy. Crazy? Remember what Mr. Grossberg said yesterday? Gregory Edgeworth dealt a blow to his perfect trial record. Wow. It must have been quite a shock for Von Karma. He took a vacation for several months after that, see. Yes, an unusual event for the man. That was the first and the last vacation he's taken in his many years of prosecuting. What if Von Karma didn't take that vacation because of shock, but took it because he was injured? Von Karma was a murderer, which would mean, it could only mean one thing. He was the murderer in the Dl6 incident. He was the man who shot Gregory Edgeworth. It was Von Karma. Oh man. Something wrong, Mr. Wright? You seem dazed. No, Your Honor. Well, you have indicated the possibility that the murderer came from outside. Can you give us the name of your suspect? Uh-oh. Should I come out and say it now? Yep, go ahead. Your Honor, there is a suspect. One lone suspect. Well, this certainly is interesting news. Very well, Mr. Wright. Who is your suspect? My hands are shaking. What? Von Karma. Von Karma? You mean the Von Karma, the prosecutor? The one standing right over there? Bah. You don't object? I see no need. Why honor this ridiculous outburst with my objection? Because you took a vacation for several months, starting the day after the incident. Yet you pride yourself on a perfect record. Why would you take such a long vacation without any reason? So you're claiming that I took a vacation to heal my injury from the incident. Fascinating. Prove it. I would have needed surgery, no? Where did I go under the knife that night? Where did I go under the knife at, Mr. Wright? Bring the doctor that operated on me. Have him testify. Nick, let's find out who his doctor is. It's no use. Edgeworth? I know Von Karma, perhaps too well. He's perfect. He wouldn't leave clues. He probably didn't undergo surgery. I would leave a doctor as a witness. Grr, nobody's that perfect. So what, Nick? Did Von Karma pull the bullet out by himself? That's insane. No, he couldn't have. You can't just pull bullets out of yourself. You can. I've never done it, but you totally can. Wait. What does that mean? That bullet has to be somewhere. But where? Tisk, tisk, tisk. Oh, Mr. Wright. Can you produce evidence to prove that I was shot? It's impossible to prove or show evidence. Alright, Von Karma, I'll prove it. I'll even use evidence. I know how you like it so much. What? The evidence that proves Von Karma was shot is... Von Karma is perfect. He wouldn't risk surgery, leaving an evidence trail. So then I ask, where is that bullet now? I think it is unlikely that Von Karma performed surgery on himself. You don't mean... I do. There is the possibility that the bullet is still inside Von Karma. Is that even possible for all these years? Well, there's one way to find out. We could use this metal detector. Well, Von Karma, I'm going to run this over you and see what we find. I refuse. You refuse? By refusing this means you acknowledge that the bullet is still inside you. Order, order, order. Your Honor, the defense requests that we be allowed to use the metal detector. Objection. Judge, I call for a suspension of this trial. This is an invasion of privacy. Objection! Statute of limitations runs out on this case today. It was you who said we had to end it right here, right now. Enough. I permit the use of the metal detector. Mr. Von Karma, you will submit yourself to testing. Nick, what does this mean? I don't know, but we have to give it a shot. It's gonna find the bullet. It's gonna find it. Yeah, you totally could remove a bullet from yourself if you had enough medical knowledge and it was like a non-fatal injury. It reacted. Something's inside his right shoulder. The bullet. Mr. Von Karma. You. I mean, I think maybe you could survive with a bullet in you if you were able to stop the bleeding in there. It was like no risk of infection. You. It was you. I was afraid this would happen, so I remained silent. Indeed, there is a bullet in my shoulder. However, it has nothing to do with this incident. What? I was shot in the shoulder long before the Dl6 incident. I claim that the bullet in my shoulder has no relation to Dl6. I'll be able to counter with the bullet I have recovered. Not necessarily, because it is possible the bullets came from 2 different guns. But Mr. Von Karma, can you prove that? Prove? I have no obligation to prove anything. It is Mr. Wright who must prove something here, not I. Mr. Wright? Well, can you prove it? Can you prove that the bullet in Von Karma's shoulder was from Dl6? Of course you can't. You don't have any of the Dl6 evidence. That's because you took it out of the records room yesterday. With no proof, you cannot convict me of any crime. So sorry, Mr. Wright. No, I'm the one who's sorry, Mr. Von Karma. What? You were close. 1 day away from freedom. But you see, I have proof. What? Who would have thought you would dig your own grave trying to convict Edgeworth? I can link that bullet in your shoulder to the Dl6 incident. And here's my final proof. I think it's this other bullet. Dl6 bullet. That's a bullet. Where did you get that? This is the bullet used in the Dl6 incident. This was taken from the heart of the victim, Mr. Gregory Edgeworth. The bullet is preserved quite nicely with all the ballistic markings intact. Ballistic markings. You may recall the term. It came up in the first trial 2 days ago. Ballistic markings are the fingerprints of a weapon. All bullets fired from a gun are marked with that weapon's unique pattern. By examining the markings, you can tell which weapon fired the bullet. It is quite accurate. We have 2 bullets in our possession. One, the bullet removed from Gregory Edgeworth's heart. The other, Mr. Von Karma, is the bullet buried in your shoulder. We could analyze both bullets. Then if the markings matched, we would know that both bullets had been fired from the same gun, the very same pistol. In other words, the murder weapon that killed Gregory Edgeworth. Oof. Mr. Von Karma, you will let us remove the bullet from your shoulder. Then we'll compare the ballistic markings to those on this bullet, and solve this case once and for all. Well, Mr. Von Karma? I'm going Super Saiyan. That scream. I've heard that scream before. Wait, I know. So Edgeworth threw the gun presumably at Yanni. It discharged, going through the glass, hitting Karma on the other side. Karma comes in, picks up the gun, and shoots Edgeworth's dad. That's what happened. And they were trapped in that elevator for 5 hours. Quiet, I said quiet, you're not making this any easier. Stop breathing my air. I'll stop you. Stop breathing my air. Get away. Get away from my father. Ugh. It's that scream I heard in the elevator. 15 years ago. On Karma, it was you who screamed. Mr. Von Karma. Edgeworth? Ah. So it was you. You and your father are my curse. Your father shamed me with a penalty on my record. And you left a scar on my shoulder that would never fade. I'll bury you. I'll bury you with my bare hands. Death. Death. Just beat the devil out of it using your head, Karma. That's a surefire way to give yourself brain damage. 15 years earlier. Chief Prosecutor, I'm sorry. Von Karma, it's not like you to make this kind of error. I never would have thought that Edgeworth would be the one to catch you. I was careless. I'm sorry, but you will have to be penalized. I've covered for you in the past, but not this time. Edgeworth. It was a shock like none I'd ever known. Me, penalized? It took hours for me to regain my composure. Suddenly I found myself in the darkness. I was in the court records room. I must have wandered in there without thinking where I was going. The room was pitch black. The lights must have gone out. I went out into the hall and fought my way to the elevator. I pressed the button, but nothing happened. Then there was a noise. I was in pain, a horrible burning pain in my shoulder. Just then the lights came back on. The elevator door opened before my eyes. I saw 3 people inside, all lying unconscious from oxygen deprivation. Much to my surprise, a pistol lay at my feet. I knew then it was destiny. In his last moments, Gregory Edgeworth was still unconscious. He died, never knowing who had shot him. Later, he spoke through a medium, blaming Mr. Yogi. He was fooled. It was the perfect crime. Tisk, tisk, tisk. Who would have thought another man would come to open that elevator door? Judge. What? What are you doing? Do your job. Bring an end to this miserable charade. Now, end it. Very well. It appears that we have come a very long way to the end of this maze. 15 years later, Mr. Miles Edgeworth. Yes, Your Honor. You were innocent. You are innocent. Technically, he did shoot Karma. Based on what we know. As you said, it was all a nightmare. Yes, Your Honor. The court finds the defendant, Mr. Miles Edgeworth, not guilty. It was an accident. That is all. Court is adjourned. December 28th, 5:38 p.m. District Court, Defendant Lobby Number 2. Nick, we did it. Did you see his face? Von Karma looked even paler than usual. He's pretending to be all cool, but inside you crushed him, Nick. Crushed. I gotta say, I'm impressed. It was pretty close, though. I was sure we'd had it. I know, I was on the verge of tears the whole time, myself. But now it's all just a good memory. So it's finally over, Edgeworth. Right. Yeah? I'm not sure how to say this. I know. Try thank you. I see. Thank you, Wright. You're welcome. I think you could have done better than that. Sorry. I'm not good at this sort of thing. You've got a lot to learn, Edgeworth. She's got you there. Woo! Amazing, pal. You pulled through just like I thought you would. I'll never forget this. I owe you one, pal. Tonight, let's party. Dinner's on me. Yeah, my salary went down a bit this month. Who cares? See, Mr. Edgeworth, you should take a lesson from Detective Gumshoe. That's how you say thank you. I see. Woo. I feel foolish. Don't worry, take a little time, you'll get used to it. It's been 15 years since I've seen Edgeworth this unguarded. Hey, y'all! Yeehaw! Lotta. Y'all were great there. Thank you. Yo, Edgeworth, congrats. Thank y'all very much. Knew you were innocent from the start, of course. Just look at you. You wouldn't stick your hand in the cookie jar, even if no one was there. You were the witness on the first day of the trial, weren't you? Yeah, well, let bygones be bygones, huh? Speaking of which, what are you doing now, Lotta? Who, me? Oh, went back to college. Gave up trying to be an investigative photographer pretty quick. Really? That's too bad. Huh? Isn't that the hot dog guy from the park? Huh? It's over, Nick. My life is over. Why the sad face, Larry? What happened now? Oh, Nick, I'm not long for this world. You don't look sick. It's Keonce. She's going to live in Paris. Paris, Nick. She's leaving me behind. Should have seen that coming. Yo, Edgy, there you are. Yes, here I am. Congrats, Edgy. Here, a little gift from me in celebration. Celebration? That's unusual for you. Harry Butts, you come along tonight too. My treat, pal. Thanks. Look forward to it. Yo, Nick, that's the suit that questioned me. When he says treat, that's not police talk for prison food, right? Right? I think you'll be fine later. Right. Yeah, what's up? That envelope that Larry gave me, it's got money in it. Well, yeah, that's not that strange. People give money always a way to celebrate sometimes. It's $38, right? Huh? What a weird amount. I mean, it's not a little, but it's not a lot either. $38 exactly. Nick, wasn't that exactly the amount of lunch money that was stolen from Mr. Edgeworth in school? $38. No. No, Larry, it was you. What are you so surprised about, Wright? Huh? Larry was absent that day from school, right? But that doesn't automatically rule him out as a suspect. What? Larry came to Edgeworth's defense, though, so he must have been there. Think back to that day 15 years ago. Larry took the day off, but he was bored, so he came into school anyway. Yeah, he was at the school for sure. Then he saw the money lying there, and the rest is history. I never was good at history. Edgeworth, you didn't know, did you? I suspected. I just couldn't picture Larry protecting you like he did that day. Everyone else was saying you did it. The whole class was against you, remember? Yeah, too well. Right, you may not know this, but we used to have a saying back in school. When something smells, it's usually the butts. I know. Really, Wright. I'm surprised you didn't figure it out. Well, this sure is an unexpected turn of events, huh? Why did he wait this long to give his money back, though? Edgeworth. You should have told me. Now, Nick, it was 15 years ago. Don't you think the statute of limitations has run out, Mr. Edgeworth? I'd say silently yes. There you have it. Grr. Where does that leave me? I became a defense attorney because of what you two did. Well, you've always been something of an insufferable emotionalist. Yeah, and you get worked up too easily, too. Death. It's a death sentence for both of you. Man, if only I'd have known, I'd become a prosecutor. The same goes for me. I only go the other way around. Only the other way around. For the longest time, I thought that I might have killed my own father. I thought I might be a criminal. I became a prosecutor in part to punish myself. If I had known the truth, I might have become a defense attorney after all. Edgeworth. Want to switch right? Hey y'all, line up. I'll take a photo. Photo time, let's go. After that, dinner on me. Detective Gumshoe took us out on the town that night. He celebrated Edgeworth's newfound freedom, even though Edgeworth himself was still in detention. December 29th, 5:02 a.m. Wright and Company Law Offices. I think I'm going to put Hearthstone off until tomorrow. This episode is going on a little bit on. Well, I went on the Loverboard yesterday. My head hurts. It's still only 5 o'clock. Maybe I should go back to sleep. What's this? A letter. Good morning, Nick. You're really impressive yesterday. Seeing you, it made me think about what I'm doing here. I'm a spirit medium. In training, of course. I wanted to help Mr. Edgeworth, too. I wanted to help you, but I couldn't. I was useless, so I decided to go back to my training. I'll become a full-fledged spirit medium for starters. I couldn't say it to your face, so I left this letter. Goodbye, Nick. Goodbye? What time is it? God, the first trains for the mountains have already left. To the station. It would be nice if she could summon me on command. I guess I'm too late. Hey, Nick, Maya. It's Phoenix, by the way. So, you're leaving. Yeah. It's hard being a spirit medium who can't talk to spirits. And I think you'll do fine without me, Nick. Be good, okay? Hold it. Wait. What? I never could have saved Edgeworth without your help. Huh? On the last day of the trial, I heard her. I heard Mia's voice. You heard my sister? Yes, only her voice, but still. It was at the very end when I thought we'd lost everything. Well, that's my sister for you. Detective Gumshoe helped, and Mr. Grosberg, and even Larry. I'm the only one who couldn't help. I was useless, Nick. But you were the one who stopped Von Karma. Huh? I didn't do anything. All I did was wander around in a daze. Sorry, but I have evidence that you helped. Evidence? Show Maya some evidence to cheer her up. The parrot? Misty Phase photo. Sorry, Nick. I guess I don't understand. Ah. It was the bullet. So this is it. See you soon, Maya. I hate that so much about this stinking game. Like, it is so dumb sometimes. And so my story ends. Time to turn a new page. Say goodbye to the novice defense attorney that I once was. Now a new story begins. With the same old crazy cast of characters. Ha, don't think you graduated yet, amateur. Mr. Wright, perhaps you'd like to rethink that claim. Yes, Your Honor. Oh, I got a bad feeling about this. Objection! It's that stinking bullet that they both found. Hey, pal. Mr. Edgeworth came down to the precinct to wish me a happy new year. Talk about a pleasant surprise. Ooh, Detective Gumshoe. Then he hung his head low and went right back outside. And then Wright hit him with a dundle. Kind of like he was embarrassed or something. Strange, huh? Freaking bullet that they both found. Honik? Who, me? I've been working at a cheese shop. That Missy's a nice lady, but she's not exactly what you call a cheap date. Oh, she's in Hawaii right now, yeah. Is that the end of the game? Who? Wright? Yeah, I remember him. Harry's been busy lately. You know, not turning my own belt, I sort of taught him everything he knows. I'm sure he's grateful. Pretty great game, fun gameplay, but yeah, sometimes it's very linear. Phoenix Wright. Ah, the defense attorney for whom I wrote that affidavit for, yes. Now you should know I've taken over management of the Gatewater Hotel recently. You should be in the area, please stop by. Ahem. Oh, it's you. Phoenix Wright. Oh, yes, my understudy, was he not? I wonder how he's doing. I haven't seen him of late. The days of my youth, like the scent of fresh lemon, you see. Indubitably, yes. Phoenix Wright. Is he an actor? Well, I'm not buying it. Can't be a star with a name like Phoenix. Do you know that they're on the DVD one of the everything these days? Too fast. Missy, DVDs aren't even in use anymore. Nowadays it's all digital. I'm pleased to announce the Pink Princess is a hit. I sure owe that Miss Wright a great deal. Oh, I'm keeping my face out of the public eye till the show's over. Wouldn't want to ruin any kids' dreams, you know? Oh, I got a letter from Maya the other day. Sounds like she caught a cold standing under a waterfall. I wanted to visit, but I didn't have time, so I sent her some Pink Princess trading cards. She says I can't buy them where she is. What kind of place is she living at anyway? Great game, if not a little frustrating sometimes with this linearity. The characters were probably the best thing about it. Right, who's that? You want to talk? Let's talk Pink Princess, alright? But you know, I snuck into the studio the other day. And I saw her, the one inside the Pink Princess suit. Ugh, what a dog. It's kind of a shock for a boy of my tender age. Well, yeehaw, yeah, remember, right? That lawyer guy? Me, I'm in training to become a paranormal photographer. You know that picture I took of everyone? Well, just behind them, there's a ghost. For real. Now that's talent. I'm gonna be famous. Shinji Mikami. Mia's ghost. victory. Capcom. Hold it. A brand new episode has been added. Episode 5 next time. Rise from the ashes. Great game. Hope you've enjoyed this series. Phoenix Wright, Ace Attorney. Objection! Thanks for watching.